Split 2 advanced mid guide for carrying. In this video we're going to go over 2 mid lane carry champions that can carry you in Split 2 season 14. These champions have consistently carried in previous seasons and new seasons. We're going to go over how to do this best from the early game to mid game to late game. And one thing to note in this guide is that it assumes you know the basics of the champion's abilities, their basic combos, and they go to summoner spells and runes. Starting off with Ahri. Ahri is a mobile and above mid-range burst damage champion that also has a great wave clear. For her early game from level 1 to level 5 versus ranged and mage matchups, you want to prioritize wave and CSing. On top of this, you should be going even in trades versus these type of matchups. For melee matchups, you should be able to outtrade in damage while being up in wave CS. For more depth on how to do these things, check the guides below. Next up is LeBlanc, who is also mobile but a close range burst damage assassin. Her wave clear is not as great, although for her early game levels you essentially want to do the same thing as Ahri. To add to this, LeBlanc does have more kill pressure versus melee matchups, but is not as good versus long ranged matchups if you do not know what to look out for. The most important tips here would be to always consider the enemy's ability cooldowns and how you want to combo using LeBlanc's abilities. For example, either gap closing with her W, or using her W for damage, or using her W as bait to lure the enemy's abilities. Moving on to ultimates, once Ahri gets her ultimate, she has great elimination and roaming pressure, which is a great part of her carry potential. The best way to use her ultimate would be to get enemies low by poking them first and then looking to ultimate and finish them off. Now you should be aware to dodge their CC abilities with your ultimate or wait for their CC to be on cooldown. For LeBlanc, she also has great elimination and roaming pressure, with her ability being W to gap close. You want to do the same thing, be sure to poke down enemies with your combo and then go all in on the next refresh of abilities. Once again, being aware to dodge the enemy's CC abilities with your LeBlanc flash or W, or just wait for it to be on cooldown. Once ahead in levels, gold and items, this is where you will be able to drop enemies from full HP to create advantages around the map, such as a 4v5 or a free objective, or taking an undefended tower. Moving on to mid game, you want to do the following things with both champions to carry games. You want to look to trade poorly positioned mid laners. Now, if a mid laner is well positioned, aka they're moving under tower after their farm, or they walk under tower when you walk up for trades, then you want to look to push in the wave and either roam to enemy jungle or roam to an ally lane for ganks. Both champions are great for this, and this is what also makes them carry games, as Ahri can ultimate in and charm enemies on her ganks. LeBlanc also accomplishes the same thing, as she can gap close twice with her W and her ultimate W, and she also has an E stun. To further help you with this, you can rush sorcery boots for quicker roams. Now you also have the option to trade enemy mid laners under tower if they're not able to clear the way fast enough. However, always be aware and account for tower damage. Finally, on to late game, and you just get more carry potential. Again, you want to be doing the same following things with both champions. To start off, always look to be with the team at objective and team fights. You also have the option to look to pick off solo enemies if you have the level, gold and item advantage on them. One way to do this is with sweepers and control wards. Look to solo set up in a bush where enemies may roam, check if it's warded, and then if the chance shows, do your full combo and try finalize the elimination. However, you do want to remember to disengage when multiple enemies show up after your combo and if you're not able to take down the elimination, as not only will your burst damage drop the enemy low, they will have to recall, or they will have to be at low HP in the next team fight, giving you a slight advantage for that team fight. You also have the option to split push on both champions, which again is great for carrying, as you will be able to eliminate solo enemy players defending or draw multiple enemies to your split pushed lane. This results in a numbers advantage for your other grouped allies. On top of this, Ahri has her ultimate to disengage if outnumbered. Likewise, LeBlanc has her W for disengages too. However, always be aware of your split pushing, as this requires trust in your allies in terms of not fighting when they shouldn't, and also it requires map awareness from yourself. If you find yourself not being able to create advantages on your split push, just stay grouped instead and look to make picks with the sweeper bush setup.